Hi, I'm Mark Mancini with VRBOutstanding. This week's episode is about gifts. So this week, we'll be discussing the right and the wrong gifts to leave for guests. Not only that, we're going to discuss how to leave them and the importance of gifting your brand. Because remember, you want repeat guests, you want referrals, and you want to ensure that 5-star review. So to help me with this week's episode, I have Rick Bernstein from MBM Advertising. And Rick, I've known for 20-something years. I've used him through several of my business ventures throughout the years. So prior to purchasing my first short-term rental over a decade ago, he's helped me out with many different gifts we'll show you later. But I want to introduce you to him, and he's going to say a little something about himself, because Rick's probably the biggest small advertising company around. So Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me on, Mark. As Mark said, the name is MBM Advertising, and started this company about 30 years ago. Started in office supplies, started working with those existing clients, and then started moving over to branding and different marketing types of work. Felt that there was a big need for it because people really didn't know what they were going to do as far as logo design, the types of products they were going to do, what would work well on the different types of products. So we crept into the market and went full force quite a few years ago. Worked with many different industries that Mark and I have discussed before, from travel, in that regard, to rental car companies, airlines. We work in finance, have a local bank that we work with, technology, pharmaceutical, plumbing, heating, construction, architecture, just to name a few. So very diverse, pharmaceutical, medical, very diverse in different types of companies that we like to work with. And we prefer that, where some companies might like to focus on certain industries. I like the diversity in working with different industries. It keeps you hopping, keeps you busy, and you work with all different types of products and logos, and so it works well from there.
Now, Rick, you mentioned a lot of different industries, but you didn't mention short-term rentals. But I know from our conversations we've had that you've used short-term rentals for decades.
Yes,
tell
and
us
I'm
a bit
sorry.
about that and your experience with short-term rentals.
Yeah, I did leave it out, and I apologize. But the industry is so incredibly diverse. Where I rattled off a few types of industries and type of companies that we work with. But with short-term rentals, it's basically it is a business, and you treat that just like you would any other company. They have basically the same type of needs. When you're considering the types of items that you might want to do for a short-term rental, you consider just like I would if I was working with an airline. Yes, they may have a bigger budget, but at the core, the needs are still the same. The requirements are still the same. And you work within a budget. You work within in-hand dates. You work within the needs of the client.
Now, you mentioned budget, which is something I definitely want to talk about, but
Yeah.
also ease of, ease of giving gifts. Now, I know something that a lot of people give are these. Now, this isn't a gift I give. This is for me to drink later. But some people leave bottles of wine for their guests, and I am steadfast against that. And I have 3 core reasons. Number one is usually the first group of people that enter a short-term rental are the kids. They run in, they want to claim their room and their bed, right, over the brothers and sisters. And you get a teenager too, and the teenager sees that in the counter. He might grab it, stash it in his room, and try to drink it later. So you have that liability. You also have several religions who just don't drink alcohol. Southern Baptists, Muslims, Seventh-day Adventists, bunch of other ones, Mormons, etc. And then the third, people in recovery, and not just alcoholics. There are people who suffer from substance abuse who simply don't partake in any alcohol whatsoever. So you don't want to have that temptation for them, because there is a large portion of the population that it affects. I think that is the poorest gift that a short-term rental owner could leave. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you brought up a lot of different points that I may have, within my business, I may not have actually discussed with somebody. So, kudos to you for bringing that up. I think I always am in the marketing, branding mindset. So when someone discusses that with me, I think of products that they may consider that are going to have long-lasting effects. And I absolutely agree with you as far as the wine, any type of alcohol, for many reasons, just because everybody has different tastes. So you can put out a sweet Riesling, and that might not be what somebody wants. Even if they love wine, I find that most short-term rentals are going to bring in exactly what they want to bring in. So they're not going to, they might not be interested in the wine you brought in. So for that reason alone, it's not going to be.
I can tell you this,
Dolly
doesn't like wine at all. My wife, Dolly, you can leave the best bottle of Silver Oak out for her, and she won't even touch it. Mm-hmm. And we've had conversations. I'm a wine snob, right? For me, it's red wine. If someone left me a Riesling, I'd give it away as a gift to someone else. So not always the best gift, for other reasons too, besides me being a wine snob.
Yeah, and I can say the same thing though. That goes for snacks and different types of sweets. That you could leave, different types of chips. You can leave chocolates and things of that nature. Any kind of candy, but it might not be what anybody wants. So you basically spent money in an area that is not. It just might be a waste, and there's no lasting value. And that's where I bring in the branding and the marketing point of view, where you want your name, your short-term rental name, to have a lasting effect. And that's where, as you know, from the work that I've done with you and I've done with some others, that there's plenty of different products out there that would fit the need.
And this is an example of one of the gifts one of the owners leaves out. And someone may have a peanut allergy, or maybe certain gluten-free sensitivities, whatever. I don't want to go down that road. But the reality is, as you mentioned, they eat this food and it's gone. They appreciate it, but then it's gone. But yet, you get them a nice water bottle, a former company of mine, a nice water bottle here that you guys did for us, and pops open some way or another. And also, we had done one of these for an event, a bouncing ball that lights up when you hit it.
I remember those.
And I think something like this is old school now. On your desk for the time and the date, one of these, and you've done USB keys and all kinds of things, and these are all things that will last. In fact, speaking of lasting, Rick, you do this for a living, so you know what branding is all about. This is a boutique hotel in Aruba called Ocean Z, or Oceans, I guess they call it, and it's a small place, but it was absolutely gorgeous. They gave my wife and I these hats. Now, my wife uses this hat often. In fact, they gave us two of them right now. One is for my wife to use in South Carolina. The other one she keeps in a house in Florida. I don't get any. But people always ask her about this. And she always says, it's this great boutique hotel. If you ever go to Aruba, you have to stay here. And that's what you had mentioned about building that logo and brand. So expand on that for me, and how the owners can really take advantage of that.
Certainly. The types of products that you always think about, that you might even have, whether, are in your house or in your car or in your office, you can probably look around and find, between the three things that I mentioned, a dozen different products. Go in your closet and look at the apparel that you have. I would be surprised if most people don't have some type of branded apparel, whether it's from a trip that they took somewhere, whether they are part of a league, whether some kind of association or club. When I look at different products that you can do, like those coasters,
A coaster you did for us, yeah.
yeah, we always target long-lasting products, coolers, drinkware, tote bags, towels, and these are items, like for example, I mentioned a towel. If you wanted to do a beach towel, not an inexpensive item. A lot of people would think that it might be, but it's not, especially if you want to do a good quality. But in the overall expense of a short-term rental, it doesn't necessarily have to be, an expensive item, or but it's well worth it, because like a beach towel, you could have them for easily 10 years. So the longevity of certain products are going to last, and obviously that ties it all back in with the branding and the types of products that you can do, and it might even be very useful while they're on that vacation. So if you did a cooler, you would very well find that they might use it at that time. Some products may want to just bring it back and not use it, but most often they're going to at that time.
I just want to say thank you for all your experience and your time here, Rick, for sharing your experience today. And thanks once again for really being a part of this. And just a reminder to everyone out there, we go into this in much more detail in my course at VRBOutstanding.com. It's a 9-hour course. It is the only short-term rental course I have ever seen that has a money-back guarantee. And we do that for one reason. We stand behind it. We know it's the best one out there. So thanks so much, and we're going to see you again next week with another new video.